Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel BNB Daily Spoiler. Read jealousy. Order to Deacon. Stay away from Taylor.
Deacon is told to keep away from Taylor by Raging Ridge. According to Monday, February 9 spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, a furious Ridge Forrester will tell Deacon Sharp to avoid Taylor Hayes, which will lead to even more turmoil at Taylor's office. After witnessing Taylor and Deacon sharing a kiss, Ridge became enraged when BNB ended. In Monday's broadcast, Ridge will reiterate his position that whatever is going on between Deacon and Taylor must end immediately. Ridge will give Deacon a severe warning and announce that this romance is over. Ridge will employ a somewhat scary tone while telling Deacon to avoid Taylor because it's obvious that he means business. For a while, Taylor will remain still like a deer caught in headlights, but she might ultimately find her voice and attempt to silence Ridge. Since Ridge kicked Taylor out and reconnected with Brooke Logan Forrester, this isn't really his concern. Although Taylor points out that Ridge didn't want her, she has since found someone who does. Although Ridge may say he wants Taylor to be happy, he will believe she requires a good partner. Ridge will undoubtedly gripe about Deacon's marriage to the insane Sheila Sharp and will clearly not think he belongs in that category at all. Ridge may question whether Taylor is truly prepared to part with Steffi and her own grandkids for a man like Deacon after bringing up the threat and Steffi Forster Finnegan's ultimatum. Taylor might eventually lose it over Steffi possibly carrying out her threat to exclude her mother from the family. Steffi may take harsh measures if Ridge provides him with updates on what he has seen. If Taylor really ends her relationship with Deacon permanently, Ridge may tell her that the most recent make-out news can remain between them. In any event, Ridge will continue to be furious at Deacon for luring Taylor to him and placing her in this predicament. Ridge won't listen to Deacon's defense of his feelings for Taylor and his attempts to persuade him that they could work out. According to previews for The Bold and the Beautiful, Ridge will establish the rules for separating Deacon and Taylor, so pay attention. Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful. Sheila worries that Deacon's love is gone, while Taylor is shaken by Steffi's demand. Taylor vacillates between being a wife, co-parent, and co-CEO. She has been balancing the public persona of Forrester leadership with private remorse, which consists of minor lies meant to shield someone or heal a harm. Taylor's fragility is noticed by Steffi, who has been willow calm but iron hard when cornered. Cut to a private moment. Taylor reading a note from Deacon while she is at her vanity. Taylor feels a tremble in her chest after reading the enigmatic remark, which is part apologies and part longing. She puts the phone in her pocket, braces herself, and goes to live with the family. Steffi observes, unintelligible. Later, in the Forrester building's hallway, Steffi yanks Taylor away. Although it seems like a minor request, Steffi believes that having Taylor in the spotlight at the moment poses a risk to her brand and wants her to withdraw from a particular public role, a high-profile alternative fabric relationship with a well-known customer. However, Steffi's delivery is personal rather than pragmatic. "You need to step back for the sake of the company and the children," she says bluntly. Now, it sounds like a verdict. Taylor feels shook. In addition to casting doubt on her professional abilities, Steffi's tone also conveys an implicit moral failing, that Taylor's personal life now poses a threat to the Forrester brand. Steffi's desire causes Taylor, who has always attempted to be both a boss and a mother, to experience an identity crisis. Is she giving up agency if she backs off? Does she run the risk of a family conflict if she fights? The echoes in the ultimatum. Steffi's request is not merely a suggestion. She arranges for Finn's assistance as well as that of a few senior designers who are concerned about client confidence. Finn and Steffi have private arguments because he prefers restorative dialogue to banishment and wants to shield Taylor from public shame. But Steffi has witnessed what happens when controversy occurs. Sponsors withdraw, clients go, and power changes in the boardroom. For her, the calculus is straightforward and brutal. Stability comes first, then emotions. Taylor doesn't want to. She makes a passionate case for loyalty, leadership, and supporting others when they make errors for the right reasons in a heated boardroom situation. However, Steffi responds with a chilly business brief, presenting a phony analytical report on expected PR impact, handshake pullouts, and possible client losses if Taylor continues to be the face of the new brand. The board, feeling uneasy and cautious, decides to support Steffi. Taylor exits the room in shock, embarrassment, and pain. The sentence that pierces the heart the most is when Ridge, outside the conference room, grips Taylor's shaking hand and says, "If the board thinks your presence is dangerous, we'll have to think about what that means." It's both comforting and aloof. Taylor no longer feels the same level of protection in Ridge's arms. Steffi's demand has changed the family's geographic location in addition to rearranging duties. Taylor's personal account. To deal with the aftermath, Taylor withdraws to the guest house. She is rattled not only by the board's decision, but also by Steffi's phrasing, which implied a breakdown in confidence. Flashbacks show the decisions that brought them to this point. Taylor breaking the law to protect someone, late-night talks in which she convinced herself she was acting morally, and one hasty pledge that is currently being used as a weapon by adversaries. Taylor reaches out to Deacon in the silence. It's a tentative chat. Despite the sympathetic and cautious tone of Deacon's voice, she is unable to ignore the distance. Taylor detects something in his tone, exhaustion, resignation, something that sounds like withdrawal. When he speaks the words soap opera fans dread, "I don't know if I'm what you need." Taylor is left standing in the dark at the end of the call, feeling embarrassed and abandoned. She understands that keeping secrets causes the same individuals she intended to protect to become isolated. Sheila's minor fear. Sheila, who is meant to be the show's resident chaos engine, is experiencing a different kind of terror in the meanwhile. She walks and begs anybody who will listen, including a guard, a compassionate nurse, and even the camera in a CCTV feed that she has managed to hack at the hospital visitation room, or under whatever conditional release the program currently utilizes. Sheila's anxiety is straightforward and, for once, devoid of the theatrical bluster of a villain attempting to exact revenge. She fears that Deacon's heart has moved on and that this is her last opportunity to be loved and relevant. Taylor has been reticent these past few weeks due to his involvement in the Forster drama and his own uneasy conscience. Sheila views hesitancy as rejection because her love for Deacon is both distorted and possessive. She sees Deacon entering a new life where she is not involved and the old scars are healed. She is terrified of the possible banishment. Sheila is making both a public and a private appeal. She publicly asks for extra visitation, saying she needs time to explain herself and be heard. She attempts to call Deacon in private, leaves ambivalent messages that range from manipulation to sorrow, and even sends a scarf packed with memories in the hopes that it will evoke feelings of nostalgia. Sheila's gentler edges become harsh and strangely sympathetic as a result of this terrible situation. The viewer briefly gets a glimpse of the woman who is posing a threat. Crossing routes. Taylor's reaction. Steffi's justification. For her part, Steffi puts in even more effort. With Finn, Liam, and Katie, she throws a strategy dinner where she lays out the long-term dangers of Taylor continuing to be the leader. Her claim that we're responsible to so many people is more about stewardship than it is about personal judgment, but beneath the facts she offers is a protective impulse. Steffi has always supported decisions with obvious repercussions. In her world, secrecy is poisonous. Taylor feels compelled to speak up after hearing tidbits of the plan from a friend or helper or from someone mentioning it in an elevator. She arranges a small, private gathering with several board allies who appreciate her decades-long contribution and with clientele who adore her designs. The emotional center of the story is Taylor's speech, which is not a public appeal for forgiveness, but rather an honest examination of her motivations, her values, and the ways that leadership occasionally necessitates accepting the consequences of her actions. The outcome is unclear. While some clients exchange anxious looks, others nod empathetically. As of right now, the board's decision remains in effect. Although it is a blow to Taylor's identity, the fact that she is no longer the company's spokesperson for the new line is strangely freeing. She learns that taking a back seat allows for introspection, mourning, and possibly creating a new route where leadership does not entail selfless secrecy. Sheila's anxiety grows as Deacon drifts. Deacon starts to genuinely retreat. It starts out small. Fewer trips back to the bar, texts that are delayed, and requests for more space. Then, through volunteer work at a community center and a solitary, receptive coworker, he begins to meet new people in a nice, neutral manner. The calmer actions of Deacon, a man seeking a different type of peace, are not betrayals in the conventional soap opera sense. However, this appears to be desertion to Sheila, who interprets every slight as disaster. Sheila takes action out of dread. She calls common friends to test their allegiance and spreads false information about Deacon's inconsistency, getting under Taylor's skin by suggesting that Deacon was never real. Not only are her maneuvers intended to cause pain, but they also aim to shame Deacon into going back. Sheila wants to be perceived as the only one who genuinely comprehends Deacon's darkness, and she believes that he is trapped by her. This complicated situation exposes Sheila's inner vulnerability. Torn between his current options and his previous allegiances, Deacon tries to clarify to Taylor, saying, "I'm confused. You are important to me." Taylor hears the statement she feared. "But I can't keep being your secret." Taylor's old comforts are eroding, and Sheila's worst dread feels impending, even if he may not have a new lover and is just looking for distance. Escalation, individual decisions, public pressure. There's a sense of drama in the media. Taylor is portrayed by tabloids as either a brave martyr or a careless co-conspirator after Forrester's board goes public. Sponsors whisper, social feeds are cruel. As she watches the storm, Steffi comes to the realization that she gave up close family ties in favor of business stability. She struggles with remorse. Was her demand the only option? Playing peacemaker, Finn tries to calm his sister and Taylor, but he secretly worries that the price was greater than expected. Taylor has two options: accept the banishment and covertly establish a new center of influence, or publicly oppose the board, running the danger of a PR battle that might sabotage decades of goodwill. She opts for the latter because she sees a new kind of leadership in service rather than prominence, not because she has been defeated. It's a powerful emotional move that shifts Taylor's defensive to intentional arc. Sheila becomes more unpredictable after discovering that Deacon's distancing is a slow drain rather than just a strategy. This time, instead of using threats, she tries to connect with Taylor by making a flimsy, almost pitying confession. She begs for assistance in re-establishing contact with Deacon, telling Taylor that she fears becoming irrelevant. The request makes Taylor struggle with empathy for someone who has harmed them all, and it is startlingly human. The turn, a graceful, a ruinous moment. A crucial scenario takes place at a tiny, neighborhood fundraiser, which Taylor tactfully supports to divert attention from her identity dilemma. It's not a Forrester gala. Deacon arrives without warning. Apologies, an open discussion of needs, and a determination to give each other space without destroying one another characterize their peaceful and compassionate contact. It's a hard-earned, emotionally pure adult scene. It will gratify viewers who enjoy redemption arcs. Sheila, distraught, observes the exchange from a corner. She is broken and emboldened by the image of Deacon and Taylor eschewing drama in favor of respect. She calls a mutual acquaintance in a panic, pleading to be seen and included in Deacon's life. The call leaks. A compassionate but hurtful remark is posted online by someone who feels sorry for Sheila, implying that Deacon is involved and that Sheila is being shunned. Like wildfire, the rumor begins to spread. Enraged and defensive, Steffi perceives Sheila's ruse as a danger. No more visits, no more manipulations. She threatens to take legal action. Theater poses a legal danger, and Sheila has limited negotiating leverage. The cycle of dread and response, however, continues as the house of cards trembles. Reconciliations and accounting. Over the course of the week, characters make minor but significant decisions. Without acknowledging any wrongdoing, Taylor publicly apologizes for her opacity and provides the board and local authorities with documentation demonstrating that her intentions were protective rather than commercial. Although there's a mixed response, some clients say they respect her candor. As she observes the fallout, Steffi senses that an old edge is becoming less sharp since she now sees Taylor as a person rather than merely a resource or a burden. For his part, Deacon decides to be honest. He informs Sheila that his love has evolved into something more subdued and that he cannot maintain a partnership based on deceit or hurt feelings. Sheila breaks down in a rare, sincere moment of pure anguish. She worries that she has permanently lost Deacon's love. She tells Taylor, "If I lost him, then I have nobody," at the most personal moment of the story. Startled by the request, Taylor sits down with her and extends a helping hand. Enemies sit together and grieve for once. Rewound loyalty. A traditional soap opera cliffhanger marks the end of the storyline. Steffi confesses her own fear of legacy and acknowledges that she dreaded losing the firm in a brief, private chat with Taylor, marking the beginning of a delicate reconciliation. Then, like a grenade, a fresh rumor bursts forth. Ridge is shown a ledger entry by a mysterious figure that indicates Taylor approved a transfer months prior, which coincides with the hush money rumors. The ledger seems plausible, if not authentic. Ridge's face turns white. He glances at Steffi, then at Taylor, and finally at nothing. The last pictures are striking. Taylor running a hand through her hair as Steffi's demand settles in like a cold iron. Deacon standing alone on a pier as the tide turns. Sheila clutching the armrests of her chair as though the world were falling apart. As Ridge murmurs, "Where did this come from?" the screen cuts. The audience is left wondering if Taylor's retreat would be sufficient or if the ledger will make them all start to panic again.